Hello everybody, what the flick? We are here, we are back, we are talking about X-Files, episode something.
Episode 2 of season 11, titled This.
I was wondering, like, did they renumber it as a season 2? And I was like,
according to everything I read online in my DVR. So.
But we're back. We're back to Stuff of the Week episode. It's not really a monster this time, but we're just Mulder and Scully get engaged in shenanigans, and boy, it feels like they're really trying to pick up the pace.
No, it feels like a Black Mirror episode, is what it does. It actually feels like we're watching a Black Mirror episode because this all has to do with the dangers and promises of technology and uploading your conscious into a computer in virtual reality world where apparently the bad guys have been keeping Steve Jobs this entire time.
Yeah, okay, so first off, there was a Black Mirror episode that did tackle that a little bit. But yeah, so like the idea is that Langley, I guess, and only Langley, has, before he died, uploaded his consciousness into a computer so that he could continue to live on and solve problems and live in his own kind of personal
No, he did it because he wanted to stay with his girlfriend forever, okay? That's why.
Okay, fair enough.
His girlfriend we never knew anything about.
Okay, it's a little dissatisfying, but my point is that that's the idea. Everyone's there, and they're just being part of this like actual think tank, like in a tank full of think. And yeah, everyone's there. Michael Crichton is there. Steve Jobs is there, and I'm like, Steve Jobs must be insufferable in that environment where everyone is all these super geniuses, and Steve Jobs is just like, make it more aesthetically pleasing. And they're like, no, damn it, Steve.
It's got to look smooth and 2 inches bigger, but also 6 millimeters thinner.
I'm the idea man. Well, do you code anything, Steve? God. But here's the thing, of course, it's kind of hellish in there, and so they have to rescue Langley. That's a cool idea.
I mean, it's hellish until he realized, I mean, I think it seemed pretty cool that he got like personal Ramones concerts every night, like until he like of all the people who would ascend and realize that they're in a virtual world, it's Langley, of course.
Well, I think it's weird that Michael Crichton wouldn't catch on. Michael Crichton seems like the kind of person who probably would be able to sort of realize that like the sun isn't warm.
I guess I'm also just confused as to why Michael Crichton is in there.
He's a big idea guy. I
mean his books were solid, right?
But
like they were good.
He was also kind of a futurist. You look at like some of the ideas he introduced in like Westworld with the Andromeda Strain. They presaged actual scientific. If you can get him, I'd say get him.
Yeah, why not? Like I mean, essentially though, they could get anyone by just you use your phone for 20 seconds and you're part of the collective.
Yeah, and that right there, that's one of those things that reeks of like old X-Files. Like that's one of the problems with the X-Files and like the new rendition is that the conspiracies that we worried about in the early 90s, the popular conspiracy theories are not the conspiracies we worry about today.
Yeah.
So that felt kind of retro and sort of just like eye rolling, like but whatever. For me, the issue I had with this episode, I actually loved like on paper, like the way it opens. Just Mulder and Scully are asleep. They get a phone call, and then people shoot him, and there's like a shootout, like right away. They never get in a shootout.
And look at how good Scully is. Like, did you just see her like dive and like? I'm like, go Scully. You've got taken a lot of training in that off time.
I wish it was better edited. Like it was really badly edited. Just like they have, like randomly.
Yeah, they have like the same editor from. It's like that's going back to that. It's like there's so many good new ideas, but it also felt like a classic season 1 or 2 X-Files episode, which isn't a bad thing, but it's also like we've moved past that in terms of how we view TV.
That's true, but no, but like I liked the setup. I like how immediate it is. But yeah, for me, my biggest problems with the episode were it's very sloppily edited. Anytime anything action comes along, and honestly, like I know that they're trying to. Whenever you're filming night, you run into the problem of how realistic do you want darkness to be, and to the point where Lord of the Rings just shoots blue on everything, so you can see everything. It doesn't really matter, and you accept it because that's the style of the thing. X-Files has chosen to make night just pitch black.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
And I'm sorry, it's sometimes it goes beyond stylish and goes to literally just hard to see.
Yeah, it's like they shot it with their iPhone.
Yeah,
with no supporting lights.
It's an interesting aesthetic, but it doesn't really contribute anything, especially in an action-packed episode where you need to be able to tell what's physically going on. Like in that when they're solving clues in a graveyard, I want to be able to see the graveyard a little better than that.
But okay, also nice little nod to DT. That was like nice. Like it was, you know, they did bring in some good like cameos and nods to things. Also, the banter between Scully and Mulder this episode was on point. I love I'm gonna open an X-Files on this bran muffin, and she responds with, I don't care if it came out of an alien's butt. Like that was so good, and I love it, and I miss that between them.
Honestly, that sounds like the sort of thing they would have ad-libbed on the set.
I know.
That's how good that was. The X-Files were put online, and then they were taken offline as if that's how that works. Like, oh, the FBI has all of these files on all of these strange, unexplained circumstances. Well, I'm not going to archive that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to take screen grabs.
I'm like, come on, archive.org has that. You know they do. Also, nice nod to Mueller. Robert, yeah, they're like, it was like, Mueller put those online. And also, like, go Fox. I know this is Fox Entertainment, not Fox News, but they are heavy hitting the Russian conspiracy theory, the Russian infiltration, the fact that the FBI is not in good standing with the White House.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, it's all the gloves are off on this. I do appreciate that.
But at the same time, like, I don't know, like, what was I? I just lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh
my God, I'm fired. I'm fired.
No,
I'm dead. Thank you. Sorry, everybody. No. Oh, but so like one of the whole premises of the X-Files was, the government is keeping aliens from us, and what would happen to the world if we knew, and you're not ready for it. And then like a couple of weeks, like a month ago, the FBI was like, we actually there are aliens. There's this alien alloy, alien ship fucking landed, and it's like, and everyone's just like, yeah, but Trump, like, like that seems low priority right now. Like it's kind of like torpedoes. It's like that meme, like he just tweeted it out.
Yeah.
Like the X-Files is built around the idea that the government would never tell us about the existence of aliens, and they just tweeted it out.
like the NSA stuff this morning. I think that's the funny thing is both in X-Files and our real world is that if the alien threat was real, Trump would have tweeted it by now. Like, let's be honest, there's no secrecy, there's no need to, it would have been out there. So I think the real conspiracy is keeping Trump away from the information, not Mueller or Mulder and Scully, Mulder and Scully.
Can't let him know what's actually happening.
They can't really do.
Yeah, he's allowed to watch Fox News. Don't let him watch Fox because then he'll think the X-Files are real.
I know. I have to bring up Erica Price, our kind of slightly new bad girl for this series. Was she really that gullible with Mulder? Like, she just bought him like, I'll turn, oh my God, really? I can be uploaded and live forever? Can Scully come with me? Oh, but I have to see it. I need to see, this is the closest I'll ever be to God. And she's like, okay, here you go. I'm like, come on.
You get Barbara Hershey, brilliant actor, to come in and be like a multiple episode story. Like, I guess she's here for a while. Like, we'll probably see more of her. And when they came in there, I'm like, oh, this is like the scene from Network, and she's gonna be like Ned Beatty giving like this awesome fucking speech. And I'm like, the problem with the villain speeches we've had this whole season, it's like what half of the last episode was, a bunch of pomp and circumstance, not actually explaining much. Not making a lot of sense, not really driving things forward. It sounds better than it actually is. And I think we're long since past that being like enough. Yeah. X-Files is, I think, most relevant to people who remember when it was on the first time. I'm not sure how many new viewers they're gaining from these new episodes. People aren't going back to the original. We've grown up with it a bit, and we need to expect better from the show. Yeah. This is an improvement on the last episode because we really.
I enjoyed this episode. Like, I enjoyed it. Yes, it had problems, but I enjoyed it in the same way I've always enjoyed X-Files. So I think once I personally stopped putting the bar up here and reminded myself exactly where X-Files should fall. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is fun. That first episode was not. It wasn't X-Files. This is X-Files. It's silly, it's weird, it's irreverent. It loses itself like 10 times throughout the episode, and that's fine. I just want the two characters to have fun. I want them to have some banter. I want them to wrap things up in a way that it's not really wrapped up and there's always loose ends, and then we move on.
I didn't care for the way this one ended. I actually liked the idea of, oh no, there's a backup. What I didn't like was, and we're not gonna resolve that. Like, just basically like, listen, we're tired. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, he's in cyber hell.
I know. He's like,
what the? Which is like, no, we did it once. No, Langley, sorry. Just live in cyber hell with Michael Crichton and the losing Patriots.
I think it's just a reflection of modern society is that we give up. There's nothing we can do. We just acquiesce to it all.
I'm not sure that's the spirit of the X-Files.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm just saying, because it reflects current society doesn't mean it should. Well, maybe it'll become a plot point later on.
Mayhap.
Probably.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I will say this is one of the more interesting ones because they managed to. It would look like a Monster of the Week episode. Yeah. And then it does seem to tie into what's really going on. Like the big conspiracy that they're trying to sell us is the idea that all of the rich and powerful people are planning to literally leave the earth. Yeah. And abandon everyone else. Yeah. That is something that they're pushing, and this actually did tie into that, so fair enough. Yeah. Like, kudos for actually like incorporating ongoing narratives into your Monster of the Week, which X-Files has been notoriously kind of bad at. So, yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough.
No, I enjoyed it. Though I guess we know that this is Scully's swan song of a season.
Yeah, apparently.
Gillian Anderson has finally said no more, which makes sense because that first episode really felt like she was being held hostage.
Yeah.
And like they tried to kill her so many times in that first episode, and she just wouldn't die. And I felt that was very reflective of how Gillian Anderson felt about the series.
Perhaps.
That's how I feel, anyways.
Listen, she's got every right to go. She doesn't have to do this for forever. And besides, they're just going to bring in Doggett. Just Mulder and Doggett? Doesn't sound like a good show to you?
I don't know. At this point,
I want to see them be roommates.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, let's just make this season good and maybe give it the shelf it needs. Let's enjoy it while we have it, but maybe not have another season of not Mulder, not Scully.
No, we definitely
don't want that.
No one wants that.
I don't want the ex-babies.
What if they? Yeah, that's maybe they should take it. No, okay, we're fine.
No, we're good.
Okay. Everybody, thank you so much for watching the X-Files with us, and we'll see you next week with more X-Y things.